There's a house on your street. You know the one. Nicest house on the block, maybe. And parked out front, every single day, is this sad, faded Toyota Camry that's got to be pushing 12, 13 years old. There's a dent in the back bumper he never got fixed. The paint's going chalky on the hood. And every time you roll past it in your clean, financed SUV, you feel this tiny flicker of something. Not smugness exactly, more like, well, at least I'm doing better than that guy. Yeah, about that. That guy owns the house. Outright. No mortgage. He paid cash for the Camry, used, and he's gonna drive it till the wheels come off. The guy you felt a little sorry for is the richest person on your street. And that beat-up car isn't a sign he's behind, it's a big part of how he got ahead. So today let's talk about the most expensive lie most people quietly buy into. Not the house, not the boat, the car. Because the car is the one place the whole money game gives itself away. Here's why the car specifically. Think about who actually sees your stuff. Your house? A few people ever come inside. Your clothes? A couple dozen people a day, and half of them aren't even looking. But your car is on display constantly. It's in your driveway for the whole street. It's in the lot at work, parked next to your boss all day. It's in the school pickup line. It's the single most seen thing you own, by a mile. And that's exactly what makes it dangerous. Because when something's that visible, it stops being transportation and quietly turns into a billboard. A billboard about how you're doing. About whether you've made it. And the car companies know it. A $15,000 car and a $60,000 car get you to the exact same grocery store at the exact same speed on the exact same roads. They're not selling you the driving. They're selling you the feeling of pulling in and having people look. And look, I get it. That feeling's real. I used to have the leased German sedan in the driveway and almost nothing in my savings account. I've been that guy. But that's the trap. You're not buying a car. You're renting a feeling. By the month. With interest. Now here's the part that should mess with you a little. You'd assume the people who can actually afford the expensive car are the ones driving it, right? It's almost the opposite. There's a study from Experian, the credit people, that got written up in Forbes, and it looked at what high earners actually drive. People pulling in more than 250 grand a year. And 61% of them don't drive a luxury brand at all. They drive Hondas, Toyotas, Fords, the same cars in the parking lot at any grocery store in America. Almost 2 out of 3 people who could pay cash for anything on the lot, and they're in the Camry. And flip it around. The people making under 100 grand a year, a chunk of them are in the luxury cars. So the fancy car in traffic next to you is more likely to belong to somebody stretching for it than somebody who's actually rich. That logo on the hood is often telling you the exact opposite of what the driver's hoping. Because here's the thing nobody explains. It's not really about the price of the car. It's about the ratio. There's a famous book, The Millionaire Next Door, where researchers spent years studying how millionaires actually behave. And the typical car buyer in America spends around 30% of their net worth on their car. The typical millionaire? About 1%. 1%. Sit with that, because it's the whole secret. The millionaire isn't driving some magic cheap car. He might be in the exact same $30,000 Camry as his neighbor. But for the neighbor, that Camry is basically his entire net worth, sitting in the driveway rusting. For the millionaire, it's a rounding error. Same car, 2 completely different universes. Real wealth lives in that gap. He could pull up in anything on the lot. He just doesn't. And that restraint isn't him depriving himself. That's him staying rich. So why are they like this? Because they understand the one cost nobody ever puts on a bill: depreciation. And I know, The second I say that word, half of you check out because it sounds like accountant stuff. Stay with me, because it's costing you more than anything else and you never even feel it. Every other cost of a car sends you a bill. The payment shows up every month. Insurance shows up. Gas, you watch it tick up at the pump. Depreciation just happens silently in the background while the car sits there, and you only find out how much it cost you years later, the day you go to sell it and the guy offers you way less than you thought. Let me put a real number on it. Say you buy a new car for 50 grand, which is about average now. The moment you drive it off the lot, it's already worth less. Not next year, that afternoon. It drops more than 10% basically the second it becomes used. By the end of year one, it's usually down about 20%, so your 50 grand car is worth about 40 grand. You just lost $10,000, and you didn't do anything wrong. You just owned it for 12 months. And it keeps going. After 5 years, a normal new car is lost around 60%. Your 50 grand is now worth about 20 grand. That's $30,000. Gone. And you never once got a bill for it. Break that down, and it's about $115 a week. So every single week, whether you drive the thing or leave it parked under a cover like a museum piece, that car's out there setting a $100 bill on fire in the driveway. You wake up Monday, there goes $100, and you haven't even found your keys yet. That's the wet towel on the treadmill. And here's the kicker. Some cars bleed way faster than others. The stuff that holds value best? Toyota and Lexus. Same boring names at the top of the resale rankings every year. The stuff that drops fastest? Luxury sedans and electric cars, which can lose 30–40% in year one alone. So the beat-up Camry isn't just cheap, it's the car that bleeds the slowest. The boring choice and the smart choice turn out to be the same choice. That's no accident. Now, that book's 30 years old, and you might be thinking, cute old-timey advice, Nate. Except the trap is deeper now than it's ever been. Americans currently owe about $1.68 trillion on their cars. Trillion with a T. Second biggest pile of debt in the country behind mortgages. Bigger than student loans. The average new car payment is around $770 a month. Every month. For years. And roughly 1 in 5 people buying a new car right now have signed up for a payment of $1,000 or more. A month. That used to be a rare, insane thing. Now it's basically a club, and 20% of new car buyers just paid the membership fee. And to make those payments survivable, people stretch the loans out. Almost 23% of new car loans are now 7 years or longer. 7 years. You'll be making payments on that car until it's old enough to be in the 2nd grade, and you'll be bored of it and probably underwater on it the whole time. Which brings up the nastiest part. When your loans stretch that long, but the car's dropping value fast, you end up owing more than the car's worth. Then 3 years in, you get bored, or you have a kid and need something bigger, so you trade it in still owing, say, 8 grand more than it's worth. And the dealer just rolls that 8 grand of old debt straight into your new loan. So you drive off in a new car already $8,000 in the hole, on top of that new car's own depreciation. People do this over and over, dragging a bigger ball of debt behind them each time, like a snowball rolling downhill. The rich guy in the Camry has never once been underwater in his life, because you can't be underwater on a car you already paid off. Oh, and one myth to kill on the way out, because you've seen the video. Some influencer in a parking lot going, "Rich people don't buy cars, they lease, buy assets and lease liabilities." Sounds smart. It's backwards. The actual data on actual millionaires says only about 11% of them lease. About 1 in 9. They lease less than regular people, not more. Because both leasing and financing bake in a profit for the finance company, and the millionaire's boring little move is to skip all that, pay cash, and own it outright from day one. That's not a side effect of being rich. Paying cash and holding the car forever is a big part of how a lot of them got rich. You want proof this scales all the way up? There's a certain very famous investor, one of the richest people alive, tens of billions. For years, he drove the same car, and when he finally replaced it, he bought a Cadillac that he reportedly went and found with hail damage on it because it was cheaper. A guy worth more than the GDP of some countries, out hunting for the dinged-up discount model. He says he only drives a few thousand miles a year, so why buy a new one? His own daughters joked she has to tell him when a car's gotten too embarrassing before he'll even think about replacing it. That's not a cheap guy being miserable. That's a guy who never once confused a car with his self-worth.
So what do you actually do with this? Not go buy the worst junker you can find to prove a point. That's just status anxiety wearing a different hat. A car's a tool. Its job is to get you where you're going, reliably and safely, without falling apart. So buy a good one you actually like. Buy it a couple years old and let the first owner eat that brutal first-year drop for you. Pay cash if you can, or kill the loan fast. And then keep it. Drive it way past the point you're a little bored of it. Because every year you drive a paid-off car is a year that $100 a week lands back in your pocket instead of going up in smoke. Because the two things that actually matter with a car are simple. Does it reliably work? And did you get it without wrecking your finances? That's the whole list. The badge, the trim, the new car smell, the way it looks in your neighbor's eyeline, all of that you can just opt out of, and nobody who matters will ever notice. The guy on your street figured that out a long time ago. He doesn't drive the Camry because he's stuck with it. He drives it because he ran the math once, and the math is a big part of why he's rich. If this made you look at that car in your driveway a little differently today, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really does help the channel. I'll see you in the next one.